Just really quickly. That's really some ridiculous argument. I don't actually read a Korean this fast, but she's so pretty. Kate Middleton. Yeah, I saw it, Kate Middleton. That's really not true. I really actually need a newspaper really fast. Oh, you know what? Today's New York, the Wall Street Journal is there. I can actually show you. It's not ABC. That's some ridiculous argument. It's not beautiful. On today's one, I never even actually opened it up. No. Look at all the blood. I have already actually said that. Missing wife was supposed to meet her lawyer for the divorce process on the day or really close to when she was vanished. Shortly before she was vanished, this housewife who was waiting for her divorce process was supposed to have an appointment with her divorce lawyer. But tell the truth, she could actually have an occupation, but that was mere assumption. But at least this wife, who is really missing right now, the current status of her is missing. She is without a trace right now, being missing. So she's the person who actually went to AOL. She is right now being searched after. But this missing wife and mother was supposed to meet a divorce lawyer to prepare for the divorcing process. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Oh, it's really bizarre. I really actually read everything. This California mother who is right now missing still since early January. So her status has been missing AOL since early January in 2021. This, California mother is a mother of three children. The thing is, she actually, was supposed to have an appointment with her divorce lawyer because she on Tuesday already actually had a process. So she already obtained the forms. She completed the entire documents necessitated for divorce process. That was really the Thursday. But exactly that day, from that day, she was missing. And up until now, she has never been found. The current status is she has been AOL'd or she has been missing. She actually vanished into the thin air without a trace of the soon to be divorcee and a mother of three in California went missing. And this status has been maintained starting from early January in 2021. This lady called Millet, who was actually supposed to be seen, but the problem is there was no chance anybody could actually find her. But Eric Thornburg, in the process, as a police department officer who has been part of the team devoted to her case, said this is not a cold case. So eventually, the LAPD is working on the case, so she will be found soon. At least, they've been channeling all their energies into finding her, at least spotting her, because there's no chance that she would be gone, because it's a really kind of a perplexing story right now. At least, her attorney shared the story on Fox News. Because January 7th, that was really the day she actually, had a meeting with the lawyer. Already, actually, she was confirmed to have secured all the documents. She completed these forms that would actually be required for processing her divorce pending. And that following Tuesday, she was supposed to have another meeting with the lawyer. Remember, that was, Thursday on January 7th. That was really the day she actually, was somehow notified to be gone. But the thing is, the following Tuesday, that means the next Tuesday, she was also supposed to meet this lawyer again because she was caught up in the middle of a divorce process, but she was the mother of 3 children. The problem is, she just actually disappeared all of a sudden. No one expected to see this because, there was no serious motive other than probably the dissolution of a marital relationship with her husband, right? This eventual news was shared by her attorney on Fox News. So I don't really need to think twice about it. It's very easy for me to read it. Mobile. Yeah. What if I actually think about it? I don't really think about it. Let me actually show you the Wall Street Journal. No, I'm not lying. I can actually read a Wall Street Journal really quickly. I never tried it again. Yeah, it's really easy. Mm-hmm. 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 So I already actually finished reading this. AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Wednesday night shared her devastating experience from this, horrifying conditions in the detention camp and the immigration facility center. If you've probably read this article, or if you have somehow been in touch with the U.S. news, you probably know this already. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez already paid a visit to this type of detention camp earlier in 2019 when Donald Trump was in power. At that time, she was already very much vocal about criticizing Donald Trump's inhumane handling of immigration issue. And she also, no, this time she didn't actually go there. However, she was constantly paying attention to the human misery experienced by people in this facility just because they're undocumented immigrants and migrants. Tell the truth, they're more like migrants. They wanted to actually, be part of American society. However, they have no serious documents. They've been actually, carried away by caravan. So we can actually say that there are migrants, these are caravan migrants, as well as undocumented immigrants. They're all put together in this facility nearby the border area. However, AOC also never slackens her grip on the criticism, even against the Democratic President Joe Biden, even though she recognizes that there is a slight amelioration when it comes to the conditions of immigrants in this border region. However, there was no enlightenment at all because those people are still facing miserable conditions, and this is nothing but inhumane, atrocious, horrifying, and troublesome human misery because they were asked to put up with this type of dirty and filthy and inhumane and miserable and terrifying conditions that no human should ever experience. That's really the point. Alexandria Ocasio, she's really the person who's been constantly keeping up with the difficulty and hardships experienced by migrants. She really believes that those undocumented migrants should be protected. We're not supposed to give a legal citizenship to them, but at least the human misery should be spared from them. They should actually be given a fair chance and opportunity to be treated equally, whether they would be deported, but meanwhile, during their stay, they should be at least detained in the humane conditions instead of this type of miserable and hardship-stricken swampland, right? It's a terrifying to witness the very breakdown of humanity, because if they, I mean, their day-to-day business would have been nothing but a pigsty. En een pigsty is a really verleite. Het is weer de andere woord. It's a really like dirty. It's a pig stall, pig pen, sty pen, right? Why in the first place did she mention this story on Wednesday night? Because she was having a virtual town hall meeting with her constituents. She's a representative from the state of New York. Yeah. She actually reached out to her voters by having a virtual town hall meeting. This is similar to a webinar. She's been actually having a Zoom video conference with her constituents by picking up questions from her constituents in the congressional district, right? But meanwhile, she actually, mentioned this hot potato issue because she was so frustrated to witness all the difficulties and adversities undertaken by undocumented migrants and immigrants. Tell the truth, the migrants are those people who are just fleeing away from the war zone or dictatorship in the Central America. In this case, or immigrants who really had a motivation to become American components or American society's participants, right? Anyhow, AOC was very clear about defending human rights because they should be treated equally. Even if they would have been deported eventually because of their disqualification, then we should at least treat them honorably. We should never actually let them die in this dirty pigsty pen. Right? Like, that's her argument. At least there is a slight improvement when it comes to their conditions. Because Donald Trump's cronies who actually operate this type of private facilities, they were the worst. Those people considered the migrants as nothing but commodities. Nothing but commodities. So they actually provided no shelters. Right? That was how, in the first place, she felt about the whole situation when she first visited these facilities in the region back in 2019. Another Congresswoman, Rashid Tlaib, she actually also visited the area in 2019. These two congresswomen from the Democratic Party, they were very, very vocal proponent of the human rights of migrants in the border region. They knew why these migrants are coming to the United States despite all, and they were horrified and traumatized to bear witness to the human misery. Almost intolerable to ever imagine human beings were supposed to live in this condition just because they're from different countries with no papers. That was really the argument. Rashida Tlaib and AOC both are from Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and AOC. They're from the squad, so-called the squad. They're some radical left wing of the Democratic Party, but they were also very conscious of the human misery because they were clear about ethical issues. They were like moral conscious when it comes to immigration policy. In terms of the immigration policy and the migrants' devastation and misery, or actually being a lightening house and a guiding light, right? No, that's not what I read. On a Wednesday, she actually had a town hall meeting, more specifically at night on Wednesday, or a Wednesday night. She actually had a town hall meeting virtually. It means, those constituents who already actually signed up for this type of meeting, they could actually use a Zoom or other type of a virtual process to be part of this town hall meeting, so they can actually submit their questions, or she could answer back to them. And this process was conducted on Wednesday night. That's what I read. In the midst of it, she actually, grabbed those people's attention by revealing despicable conditions undertaken by migrants in the border area. So she was also very frank about the actual failure put out by the Biden administration. Because, even when the Biden administration came, there was no immediate change to liberate these people from this human misery, this man-made disaster. Although there was a relatively significant improvement in the condition in general. That's true. Right? That's what she said. However, we should also pay heed to a surge in white supremacy. That's really the argument. You know what? In case you actually wonder, I just actually looked up in the dictionary white supremacy and white suprematism and even white supremacism, both, and not really both. All three forms are equally correct. I just actually verified these from the very authoritative book called Collins Dictionary. If you ever actually opened up the big, dictionary like that, you can actually figure out multiple versions. White supremacy, she is pretty much concerned about a surge in white supremacy. That means, she kind of, in recent days detected significant increase in the followers of white supremacy. But the thing is, white supremacy and white supremacism and white suprematism, three different forms are equally okay. If you really have a big dictionary, go check them out. I actually know there is no rendition and no tiny difference at all. White supremacy, I can actually spell them. Excuse me, I can actually picture it really well. White supremacy, white supremacism, and again, and a white suprematism. You don't believe it, right? Hold on a second, let me actually go get my dictionary. Because I always rely on very authoritative sources. Because, what the truth is always in the reference. I'm very serious about fact-checking. Everything should be very accurate. Yeah, I really remember that. Congresswomen, also equally from the squad, Rashida Tlaib and Congresswomen Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they both actually, pay visitation to these facilities in Texas, in the border region between Mexico and the United States, and they were equally traumatized and terrorized by this, human misery. Literally nothing less than a calamity caused by man. This was man-made calamity imposed on other human beings, and those people were actually suffering like hell. It was like a human hell. No, basic access to medical service was existing, and these people's privacy was non-existent equally. They were just forced to live like animals. They were actually cut up in a pig stipend. Yeah. They were like, even actually worse than the chickens in this chicken coop. Because they had no privacy and that their hygienic conditions were abhorrent and abominable. Yeah, I can actually say that, but let me... 여기 스프레마시 있는데 보면 알아요. 그렇게 늦게 읽지 않아요. 왜냐면 내가 지금 틀리면 안 되기 때문에 시험보다 더 떨리는 상황이에요. I really cannot actually make any type of wrongful movement, so it's really tactically calculated. I already actually kept, and I also kept track of the time that I spent. But it was not a great amount of time. No, I actually noticed that that's not a great deal of time once I actually initially finished it. If I would be under normal condition, I would have submitted in that way. With no suspicion. Yeah, here, supremacy, Papa. You see that? Supremacy and supremacism and supremation. You see that? Supremacism or suprematism and supremacy. All three of them are equally supreme power, authority, the equality or condition of being supreme. Like this, or a characteristic belief, characterized by belief in the supremacy of any particular group. Supremacism, suprematism, supremacy. Don't actually, immediately snub it. as if my answers were totally wrong. That's not always the case. Sometimes I do know more about one word than you, possibly. It's sometimes impossible. And by the way, I wanted to say that abhorrent is really kind of a disaster and a calamity, and nothing but a catastrophe, as if the apocalypse was nearby. Because these people were stuck in the one tiny facility where no air ventilation was even available, and these young children cannot even actually gain access to pediatric doctors. They were actually just asked to tolerate and endure whatever type of pains. Doesn't matter. No medical checkup, or not even actually clean tap water or running water, so they could actually take a shower regularly. These type of human rights were violated because they were actually they were just actually deserted by civilization. That's it. The ICE. Yeah, the ICE officers were brutal and barbaric, right? They just actually harass people and whip them. And Donald Trump's cronies make money out of this business by operating private detention centers. You remember that? That was one of the reasons why Donald Trump was so hopped up when it comes. Hopped up about cracking down on illegal immigrants. Yeah, that was one of the impetus. He was actually very much driven to let his friends make more money. Yeah, this is one way of business. Thriving the patronizes business, right? Patronage. And what else can I say? I just actually read something really quickly, but I have to study German. Please let me go. That was really the reason I never wanted to make mistake, because if I ever actually make one mistake, then that would actually cause emotional devastation in me. I could never actually regain convalescence. I can never actually put my back to the track where, I can never actually regain energy and vitality to study things that I need to study. And then that would be almost like a... What? I can never even imagine. Sometimes words fail me. I can never actually put that down into words, because I don't really have a proper word for that kind of a catastrophe and a calamity and devastation. And even actually mental derangement can be expected if I cannot actually picture it.